My parents are very religious, and while our church moved to online services in the beginning of last year, they went back to in-person services that were open air within a few weeks. My parents brought up my sweet 16 and how I wouldn't have one if I wanted to get vaccinated despite how many times I told them it was unrelated. But they said they didn't care because it was their money, and that they didn't have to do anything for me in throwing me a party because it was a privilege, along with how getting vaccinated wasn't putting our trust in God, and how the virus was just a tool that Democrats used against the 45th, until they eventually said I wouldn't have a party. They've been angry with me ever since I voiced my opinion, and them taking me out of dance is the latest thing they've done. Every so often, they will sit me and my sister down for a talk on a quarterly basis to talk about whatever regarding the family. And I really hate these talks because it's just them telling us their opinions and things like that, along with new rules that they'll sometimes have. However, in their last talk, they talked to me without my sister and told me that my current semester in dance and gymnastics will be my last one. And they pointed to what they taught me about purity as to why. She's been really controlling with what we wear. No shorts or two-piece bathing suits when we go to the beach or pool, and that, as I grew nearer to adulthood, I needed to start thinking differently too. And when I asked him what he meant, he said that he felt challenged being in the gym environment in his walk with God, and that he felt God telling him to address it. But I told him that that has nothing to do with me, but he kept pointing to purity and how Mom agreed with him too, and said it was a big thing for him to address it. But it has nothing to do with me, and they've been treating me like crap ever since I told them that I want to get vaccinated and wear a mask, something that they've refused to do and still do, and I'm now losing dance right after my party, but they just won't listen to me. I told Dad that Mom can drive me or one of my friends, and I even told my grandma about it who talked to them about it. But Dad yelled at me for going behind his back and for being disrespectful by going to his mom, and I just feel like I'm losing more privileges the older I get, and I don't know what to do to make them stop. Is there anything I can do to at least let them have me continue dancing, since I can't talk to anyone else because I'll just get yelled at again? When I talked to them again, they said that they would help me keep some of my friends if I was respectful, and that it's a privilege, and that they don't have to drive me. But when they brought up how I was wrong to tell Grandma, Mom said that we should build each other up as Christians. Dad said that he wanted me to still play sports and try something else, but that I couldn't do dance or gymnastics or swimming or cheerleading, and Mom said the verse about not conforming to the world, and that the world tries to tell you to show too much, but we're supposed to be different because of God, and Dad said that he turns away from commercials that are like that too. But I've seen him not turn on many commercials too. When I asked Mom what that had to do with me, she said that the uniforms I wore in dance were inappropriate, and that I should be thankful that they let me do it at all. But Dad said that's why he doesn't watch Olympic gymnastics either. But I told him again that it has nothing to do with me. Fuck my life. Since our first talk, Dad has not been back to the studio, but he still won't let me continue after classes end. He also doesn't want me talking to Grandma either, and Mom has not allowed me to go over to her anymore. I haven't told my coach yet, but I plan to before classes end, and I don't think I'm going to tell my friends since I might still be allowed to hang out with them. But if they find out that I told anyone else, Mom said I would get punished. Is there anyone I can tell who doesn't have to tell them but can still help me? My sister does dance too, but they're not making her stop, and I think it's because she's younger, but I hate it so much and how I'm the only one who gets punished. Since my last update, I talked to my coach, and I also had a chance to think about everything more. Before I get to her, I want to talk about Dad and what I now think of the whole situation. As part of working on himself, he said that he wouldn't watch Olympic gymnastics this year, and he wouldn't go to the gym for 2 weeks while he's fasting. But as of right now, he's been back at the gym, which is why I decided to talk to my coach. He could have had Mom drive me permanently if he was feeling challenged and always stayed home. But even me getting dressed at home could challenge him, and that made me scared about something else. Dad is upset that the family knows, but he hasn't told me anything about calls or anything else, and I don't think I'll know until I see them for the holidays. I don't know what will happen when I talk to my coach again, but she agreed that Dad shouldn't be at the gym, and she said that the head coach might talk to my parents before our follow-up, if they weren't talked to already when Dad went to my sister's practice for the first time since his past. Dad's been really upset with the family stuff. I wanted to write this because I'm afraid that I'll lose privileges or maybe my phone, and talking here has been really helpful when I can't talk to Grandma or anyone else, and I don't want to lose that. That's why I wrote this now, because I don't know what privileges I'll lose. I should delete this, but I don't want to because I have no one else to really talk to. I thought about showing them, but that'll definitely make things worse. I know I'm probably getting punished, but I want to ask if there's anything I can do before that happens, before we talk again about extended family now knowing, and most definitely when the head coach talks to them too. Is there anything I can do to just let this die down? I don't even care about gymnastics anymore. I just don't feel comfortable around him anymore, and I'm also afraid that the same will happen with my sister if it hasn't happened already. Is there anything I can do or plan to do after we talk and after I get punished? When I made my first post about 3 months ago, my Sweet 16 party was one of the main points. As of writing this, I am now 16. There was no party, and I honestly don't mind. My mind has been on other things, and I told my parents that I didn't want to celebrate either, since I'd be losing my friends from gymnastics, and as punishment, they wouldn't be allowed to come because I told Grandma. However, the main reason why Dad wanted to talk to me last time was because Grandma told his family what I told her, and now more people know about it too. Dad said he received calls from other people about it too, and that made him want to talk to me again, since he said that it could ruin his job too. When I made my last post, many people encouraged me to call my grandma and inform her about how I was punished for reaching out to her, and a few even encouraged me to ask her to help me call CPS too. I waited until my parents went to sleep to call her because they have a habit of standing outside my door if they hear me talking on the phone recently, but because of the time that they went to bed when I called her, it was almost midnight and I couldn't get through to her. I called her numerous times, but I just couldn't get through. I didn't feel comfortable calling CPS on my own, and I didn't want to explain it by myself without talking to anyone, but I was able to call my aunt and talk to her. I didn't want to have to tell her the entire thing from the beginning, but she said she already knew because Grandma had told her, but she didn't know about how I was punished for telling her and that I was scared about our call tomorrow. I also told her how I had to hide that I was talking to her, but when I mentioned CPS and wanting her help to call them, she told me that Grandma told Dad that she would call CPS if he followed through on removing me from gymnastics, but that she wasn't sure if she actually called them or not. When my parents talked to me the next day, they talked about Grandma and some things I didn't know. Mom said that someone in Dad's family messaged one of her relatives who called her about it, so now someone on her side of the family knows too. And despite the issue with me telling Grandma already being handled weeks ago, they were upset that more people besides Grandma knew and said that it was stressful for them. When I asked if I was going to get punished for it, Dad said that I wasn't going to finish the rest of my class, but in regards to my phone, he didn't take it away from me. I'm not sure when CPS called them, but the day after we talked, Mom told me that she received a call from CPS, and Dad thought that I had called or told someone else. I told him that I didn't, and that I didn't know who called, but he didn't seem to believe me, although he hasn't bothered me much about it since. However, Mom has been talking on the phone about it at home, and when I was able to talk to my aunt again, she said that she might have been getting advice or something. But since they called, Mom has been upset ever since Dad started going over to his brother's. She'll get on me for small things, and I feel like she's just taking out her frustration on me whenever she can, usually yelling and just not talking to me sometimes. My sister, on the other hand, hasn't talked to me much either since she got pulled out of the gym, and I think she's holding it against me that she was removed. She's given me short answers and has avoided me some. And while it's been quieter for a little bit without Dad, Mom said that he'll be coming back soon permanently. And I'm afraid that things will go back to the way they were when he does. I didn't plan to make any more posts, but something happened recently that's been annoying after I found some peace. My younger sister has been allowed to go to her practices after Dad took a 2-week fasting break from attending. A few people suggested trying to keep up my skills by practicing at home, and I began to do that after my parents went to bed downstairs in the garage where we have some space, and I'm always downstairs after they go to bed and have been doing this for a few weeks. However, my mom came downstairs randomly and saw me practicing when she went to get laundry from the boiler room. I had headphones on and wasn't bothering anyone, but Mom said I'm not allowed downstairs after she goes to bed. And when I asked her why, she said that I was being disobedient and that when Dad said stop, he meant stop gymnastics entirely and not going behind his back. I told her that I could try to practice in my room, although it was a little small. But she made the new rule, and I can't stand it. Even when I go down to get a drink, she'll hear my footsteps on the stairs and get up to come down and tell me to go back up. And I haven't been able to practice in over a week after finding a way to do it for the past few. She also told Dad, who yelled at me about it. But I'm at the point of just about being done with gymnastics after the nonsense with the gym. Mom has even put up a camera in the living room that goes to her phone after we talked, and that is what made me want to write this. Yes, I could try to practice outside or at a park, but I'm just tired of all of it and want to ask how to deal with the camera. My aunt has talked to my parents a few times, but they got into an argument and they don't want me talking to her. I also told my teacher, who said that she'd report it, but nothing has happened and I'm just tired, and I regret trying to practice in the garage because Mom said that the camera isn't leaving and that I'll get punished if I do anything to it. But she never said anything about not practicing at home until that one night when she made that rule. I'm sorry if I'm posting way too much, but if I can get the camera removed, I'll just lay low. Although Mom pulled that rule out of her behind as if I was supposed to magically guess it. I'm 17 now, and a lot of people who reach out really helped a lot mentally on previous posts. Parents recently talked to me about college and explained how Dad's fasting has become a testimony, which makes no sense. One of the main reasons I came back to this was because a lot of people reach out in my other posts, and I can't stress how helpful it's been. In regards to Mom's cameras, she still has them up, and I haven't practiced gymnastics in months. I'm honestly done with it and don't know if I'll return. I also wanted to get a job last summer, but they said I didn't deserve it with how I was acting. And by that, I mean asking Dad to keep explaining why I couldn't do gymnastics along with trying to practice skills at home. Only for him to make up some nonsense about how I wasn't allowed to do that too after Mom caught me practicing in the garage and told him. I hope to work this summer, and it's been a few months since then. I'm not getting my hopes up, but I hope I can. The reason I'm posting today is because of a conversation we had surrounding college, and they wanted to talk to me. They said they wouldn't consider letting me go unless I showed respect, and they also talked about the gymnastics thing again when they said they didn't want me doing it in college. I talked about college a little in my previous posts, but they flip-flop on "you're not going" and "we'll think about it," depending on their mood and trying to hold it over me. Dad said he wanted to explain his fasting again because it had something to do with college gymnastics. As of right now, my sister is still in gym, and he pointed to the scripture about how we're supposed to be in the world, but not of the world, to explain why he returned to the gym after fasting. He said that God put us in a world with temptation because it allowed God to show his power through us and give us testimonies. And he said that his struggle was a testimony too. But it makes no sense because he punished me for venting to Auntie way back and didn't want anyone else to know. That's why he fasted and went back to the gym that was making him stumble. And he said that fasting for 2 weeks gave him new strategies for when he returned, but he didn't say what they were when I asked. When I asked why he had to go back at all, he said it was because my sister was younger and that she also found a new sport as she grew older and her body began to change. Mom said that the uniforms became more inappropriate for girls as they grew, but that they were also inappropriate when they were younger and made Dad stumble recently. It makes no sense, and they're talking from both sides. I want to go to college, and I'm considering sucking up to do so. And they've been back and forth about letting me go and flip-flop a lot. But part of me thinks it might be better to just focus on moving out, as some suggested, without college as soon as possible. If I do college with their money, they'll be super controlling about it. Heck, they're trying to control me not doing gymnastics in college already. But I just threw that out there because it's not likely when I'll be rusty after over 2 years of not practicing until I turn 18. So it's not realistic that I'd be in any shape to make a team. But that's where I'm at, just trying to focus on moving out. But I do get depressed over having to give up gymnastics for nothing I did wrong, and I hope to talk to someone about it one day, like a professional outside of school. It just might be a while until I turn 18 and longer if I don't have a job before then. But talking to many who reached out here has really helped mentally, and I wanted to say thanks for that. I'm also open to any suggestions on my plans or anything else I said from an outside perspective too.